Healthcare premiums look like they're going to skyrocket in 2026. If you're a small business owner or you have clients that are small business owners or you don't qualify for a subsidy, there's still hope. Did you know that if you're in good health, there's plans that can help cut medical costs without breaking the bank? My name's Ian Sanders with Benefits Oasis and Oasis Financial Services, and today we're going to look at fixed benefit plans, the lifesavers of health insurance. So please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps to get this information in front of more people so they know what their options are. So today in this video, what we're going to do is it's going to be for new agents and also anyone that's having trouble finding health insurance they can afford. And what we're going to be looking at is fixed benefit plans. Sometimes they're called hospital indemnity plans. And what we're going to do is take a look at what happens when someone loses their subsidy or you're dealing with a family that has either very low subsidy or doesn't qualify for it at all. Now, the biggest problem and one of the main reasons that I'm going into this now is that it looks like that's going to be the case for a lot of people going into 2026. They're either not going to be able to afford their plans if they don't qualify for the subsidy, or their plans are going to be a lot more expensive, especially if they're looking at silver plans. So what we're going to do is take a quick look at what silver plans will look like for a family of four without the subsidy, and then also take a look at some of the hospital indemnity plans. I'm just going to really break down how the plans work. We're not going to get into too much detail about each individual plan and comparing one to another, but we're just going to take a look at how putting a client on a hospital indemnity plan if they're in good health and they're really just looking to save money in the event that something major happens. But again, they're not terribly worried about it, but they do want to make sure that something's in place and they don't want to pay thousands of dollars every single month. So they don't mind paying a little bit more if something does happen, but they don't want to pay a lot on a month-to-month basis because they don't really use their plan like that. So what we're going to do is take a quick look first at the ACA plans and just take a look at what happens when you have a silver plan with a family of four with no subsidy. So we're just going to switch over here. All right, so what we're doing is looking in Arizona, age 40, it's a married couple. She's 40, he's 40, and a 16-year-old daughter, 12-year-old son. Now, this family isn't doing great, but they're doing reasonably well. Together, they make $170,000 a year. Now, what does that look like from a healthcare standpoint? Well, you see here that their estimated savings is going to be $56 per month. Now, the reason why that's going to be important to keep an eye on is that when your subsidy is that low, that's where you're going to start seeing those higher premiums. The other thing is it looks like the premiums that I'm displaying here could be anywhere from 15 to 50% higher going into 2026 because of this new bill that passed. This is done in July of 2025. So keep that in mind because we don't know what the new premiums are going to be yet for 2026, but this will give you a good idea and give you the framework of how to deal with clients that are still looking for coverage, even though they don't want to spend over $1,000 a month for their plan. So for this family of four, what we're going to do first is take a look at the silver plans. So when we look at these silver plans here, the very cheapest one that you can get is this Blue Cross plan. And that's going to be $1,068.59. Without the subsidy at all, it would be $1,124.59. Has a deductible of $5,000, an out-of-pocket maximum of $8,000, and then has $40 doctor's visits, $80 specialists, and then $20 for generic drugs. It's not a horrible plan, but it is an expensive plan, over $1,000 a month for health insurance for your family. And even at $170,000 collectively a year, $1,000, over $1,000 a month is a lot of money to pay for health insurance. And a lot of clients just won't want to do that. They'd rather go without it. Now, let's say here that they had a subsidy and the subsidy went away. That's why it's so expensive. And now we're going into 2026. So this is a hypothetical, and these prices are the same. This is just for example purposes. So what you can do here is switch it from silver to expanded bronze. And what you'll see is that the price is going to go down some, but not a lot. This person's still spending about $966, and that's with Imperial. I don't ever offer that just because I don't know anything about their network. Usually, if they have doctors and things that need to be covered, we're going to go with United Healthcare or Ambetter, one of the major carriers. But sometimes, if they don't really have any doctors and they're just trying to save a few bucks, this may work out. And you see they're very, very similar plans. But regardless, you're only saving a little bit of money. So the person still may not want to do $900 a month, because even at $170,000 per year in household income, you don't really know what their expenses are like. This may not be enough. They may have high cost things that they're trying to do, where spending $966 a month on insurance that they don't really use is not going to be feasible for them. So here comes the hospital indemnity plans. Now, they're called different things depending on which company that you're working with. With United Health One, or UH1, it's called Health Protector Guard 5000. And for those of you that are checking this out, that are able to offer these, you can find them right here with the Enhanced Health Protection Guard plans. And then we're just looking at the Health Protector Guard 5000 because, I'll show you the reason for this. So the reason that I'm demonstrating that is a simple one. It's because when you look at the costs here, it's just showing the Guard 5000 plans, and this is a good illustration of that. But what I'm going to do is show you how you read these things first, and then show you how it can benefit your client, even though it's not going to cover the same way a major medical does. So the main difference between these programs and the major medical plans is that instead of the insurance company covering a majority and you have your co-pays and co-insurance and things like that, they pay a flat amount, meaning that, hey, if it says here that they're going to pay $5,000 per day if you're in the hospital, that's all they're going to pay. You're going to be responsible for the rest. Now, the biggest benefit to having this over having no insurance at all is going to be that there's a network of doctors and hospitals that you can go to. It's within United Healthcare's network. In this particular case, there's other ones as well. But what that does is going to significantly lower the cost of the procedure altogether, or the instance altogether, whether it's hospital, doctors, surgeries, whatever the case is. And then after that, the insurance company is going to pay its portion, and then you or your client would be responsible for the rest. So the way that you read this is like this. So we're looking at the Guard 5000 plan. What would happen is, if you were in the hospital for one day, or just admitted in general, they're going to pay $5,000 right off the bat for going into the hospital. After that, in the first year, they pay $100 per day for up to 31 days, or $200 per day for up to 31 days if it's in year 2 and onwards. Now, if the person needs to go to the doctor, it's $100. Emergency room, $500. Ambulance, they would get one trip. And then $600 if they need a ground or water ambulance. Air ambulance, it would pay $3,000 for that. And then you can see for the surgical procedures, outpatient facilities, and it goes on and on and on. There's a brochure for this. You can look into the brochure if you want to. We're not going to get into it piece by piece, but you get a basic idea of how this covers things like doctor's visits, specialists, therapy visits, and so on and so forth. So sometimes what I used to do in the past, before the Affordable Care Act was a thing, is I would take very high deductible major medical plans, and I would put a hospital indemnity plan with it to significantly drop the cost of the plans. Now, with the Affordable Care Act plans, because they cover pre-existing conditions and all of that, they're expensive no matter what. So I wouldn't really suggest pairing these two things together unless the person just really wants the absolute Cadillac best coverage that they could have. Then that would make sense. But usually it's going to be one or the other, either the ACA plan or the hospital indemnity plan. Now, let's take a look at what happens in real case scenarios. So what we're going to do is look at this example savings page. They have over 1.8 million providers, 7,000 plus hospitals, and then 58% average discount savings here. So this is going to be an average. So what we're going to be looking at here is this. Let me make this bigger for you all. So you have the actual treatment costs, the treatment costs after the Choice Plus network discount, then what the plan pays, and then what the member would pay if they stayed in network and out of network. And this is where it kind of shines, especially if the person's not going to be using it much. So for an office visit, the actual cost on average is $175. It would be $72 would be the cost if you stay in network. And then the plan pays $100, so the member would keep $28, so they get to pocket that. And then if they were out of network, it would be $75 that they would pay. Now for outpatient x-rays, you can see that the actual treatment cost would be $1,090. But if they stay in network, it would be 138, and if they went out of network, it would be 990. Outpatient facility, if they were in there for one day, it would be about $12,000 is the actual cost. But if they stayed in network, they'd only pay 1,132 if they were in network, or 10,531 if they're out of network. Emergency room, 5,770 is the average visit cost. If they stay in network, it would be about 1,900. If they go out of network, about 5,270. And then for hospital, they're in for 6 nights, which is a standard stay, nothing ICU or anything like that. It'll be 15,600 is the average, and they'd be responsible for about 825, 10,000 if they're out of network. So it really stresses being in network. That's going to be the main thing that you have to keep in mind is to keep costs low, you need to stay in network. If you don't stay in network, the costs are going to be pretty high, pretty close, but it does a really great benefit if you're willing to stay in network and really manage the network care and make sure that all the doctors, all the hospitals are in network, because it's not meant to be the greatest plan in the world. It's not. It's a lifesaver. It's not the boat. So what we're looking at as far as savings goes is going to be the main reason for this. So when we look at the costs, we'll just scroll down here and view the plans. So when we look at the cost for the 5,000, which is, and there are better ones out there, you want to talk to your broker. If you are a broker, you want to make sure that you talk to your client, figure out exactly what their main concerns are, and then pick one that fits their needs. But this is just the average, in my opinion. So it would be $313.27. So when you compare these two things, you have 900, we'll just go with the cheapest expanded plans, $966 versus 313. So to just do some quick math here, that's about $653 a month in savings, or $7,836 that they're going to save over the course of the year. This is going to be even more dramatic if premiums increase like they're planned to in 2026. So I know that things are looking a little rocky for 2026. Cost of everything's going to go up, but know that there are options available for you and for your clients if you're a broker. Make sure that this is something that you're offering people, and if you're looking for insurance, know that this is an option, and there's a lot of different options out there. There's a lot of different supplements, there's short-term medical, there's a lot of things that you can do to really keep the cost down as long as you're in good health, because these types of things don't cover pre-existing conditions. So hope that helps. Hopes that eases a little bit of the anxiety. If you do have questions, again, go ahead and reach out either in the comment section, or you can schedule a time to talk one-on-one. We can see if it makes sense for us to work together. And have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.